Okay, we're back. Thanks for coming back, and now it's time to get started. If you want to let me know who you are, just type in the chat. Hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Sorry, I had to adjust a couple of things so that the real-time interaction will be a little better. Everything that we talked about yesterday got fixed, so I am very pleased about that. So, real quick, I actually have a screen now right in front of my face, so I can see what I look like, and I can see what the camera looks like. And now, the interaction between what this is and what the actual chat is so much better. So, very, very happy about that. Alright, so, since you know exactly where we left off yesterday, we'll just get started. And if anybody else hops onto the stream, ask some questions. We're working on the basic hull right now. Join in on the chat. I can see what the chat's doing, so let's have some fun. So right now we're going to start working on the back end. And I'm just going to, oh, nope. Did not find it. I searched for like half an hour. Could not find that little hook. So I might, you know, it's on the back side, on the very bottom, so I'm not super worried about it, but if it starts to really bug me, I'll just make one. It's just a little tiny piece of plastic with a hole in it. I can't imagine it would be that hard. Yeah, I know. It sucks, but what can you do? Hope everybody's day was good. Mine was almost perfect. Yeah, learned some cool tricks like being able to turn the images on and off. This software is going to be absolutely amazing once I figure out all the different features. Nice. That's great to hear. Okay, let's try something and see if I can keep it in frame. I was able to get my automated stuff. So let's see if I can get it to focus. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. That sucks. It's not quite focusing. Let's see here. Aha! Sweet. There we go. Now if I can keep that in frame, you guys should be able to see me actually install these pieces a heck of a lot better. Okay. Alright, so I know exactly what to do there. Sorry, my head's going to be in the way a lot. Or pop into the scene a lot, rather. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I learn over the course of the next few weeks and months is how to get the dang camera in, like, the absolute best possible position for these kind of shots, and then allow me to lean forward if I want to. So far, that's the hardest thing. I keep on trying to move it around and find different places to put it, and I always end up putting it just about back where it was before. Oh, get off. Well, that's weird. Oh, no, it is supposed to be that way. Okay. They had me tricked here for a second. See how this set of bolt patterns is on top and this one's on the bottom? For a second I thought they had made a piece. It's like, those are exactly the same. Why is that? So I don't like this crack right here. So I'm just going to shoot some glue and test it. And if it doesn't stay after a couple of seconds, which I probably won't because it feels like I've got to put a whole bunch of pressure on here, then I will end up going back off camera at some point and putting a clamp on this and putting some heavy duty glue in there, because that's kind of annoying. Yeah, it's not really going to hold, but it does make that a little bit smaller. Oh well. Okay. And make sure I'm looking at the right pieces. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. There's a camera grid on there now. Why is that? Okay, good, it's gone. I'm going to crank up the music just a little bit since we're not talking so much. These little nubs on the end are a little annoying. Yeah, so Slave 1 will be edited on Friday. All I've got left is the weathering videos to edit. All the other video has been shot. And then I've got the finish video, which I may put at the end of that edit, or I might do it as its own video. We'll see. But yeah, so Friday, I expect to see something Friday night. Or Saturday morning. And that'll be the finish to that series. And that was fun. I learned a lot about just basic editing for tutorials on that one. I think I edited everything just a little bit different every single video. So in the future, I think I've got a pretty good idea about what I want to do to make it a little bit more entertaining to watch. So instead of focusing on hardcore teaching the whole time and showing you guys every single little tiny step sped up 400 or 500% where you don't really get a whole lot out of it, I want to be able to show you like a technique on each part, but not show you me doing that same technique over and over again sped up, and make it a little much more cinematic. That's kind of the goal. And then maybe, if I can work into it, then I'll do more of a really in-depth teaching type thing on Patreon and do a separate edit. So you get really, really long edits on Patreon if you really want to learn everything. And then if you want to just enjoy the videos and say, okay, well, that's a cool technique, you know, you already know how to do it, or maybe can figure that part out, then at that point, you can watch just the entertaining stuff. So I think that's probably a good way to go. Yeah, definitely, and I think even on the entertaining videos, you're still going to get to learn something. But I find that at the most, I'd like to have 2 or 3 videos for a model, and the Slave 1 was not a very complicated model. Like, the next one that we're going to do is going to be the P38, or the 1350 Arizona, and both of those have a lot of upgrade kits and tons of photo etch and just tons of stuff. And if I were to try to make full tutorial videos on those, man, you'd be talking about like 10 or 15 videos that would be like half an hour long, which is just crazy. So maybe again, like, we'll do that on Patreon, where I can do a simpler edit so that it's easier for me to get them out and actually talk while I'm working, just like this. But then just cut out a couple of things and speed up a couple of things to make it easier. But that would be a good forum for the hardcore learners, you know. Pay your $10 and you get literally tons of hours of content. Alright. Hold that for a second. Kappa, are you watching on your phone or on a computer? Tablet. Okay. Nice. How's the video quality? Is it sharp? I know I've got it set to where you guys can stream at 1080p if you want to. So I don't know if you have to set that or if it tries to do that automatically based on your internet. Oh, sweet. Nice job. Good to see you, Danny. Jeez, that did not stay on very well. Nice. Good. Yeah, I'm really liking this camera. I didn't have a DSLR type camera until I decided to start streaming. And I was doing it on my phone for some videos for the model train, which I will eventually get to posting. But then when I started taking pictures, I was like, man, even the new iPhones, and I don't have like the most newest one, they just don't take great, sharp studio pictures that you can zoom in on. They're fine for outdoors and stuff, but not in a controlled environment, so I went and got this Panasonic one, and it is awesome. And it can do 4K, which I think I'm going to start doing all of my finished videos, so like when this is all done and painted and finished and we're going to just show it off, I'm going to do that in 4K. And I think that'll be really cool. Big screen that. Yes, exactly. Doing the Slave 1, I had that cutting board background, which is still below this. And I swear, anytime I started moving around, it went all over the place as far as focusing. So I will be getting a roll of black craft paper, actually. That way I can mess it up. And I'll be rolling out craft paper every time I do one of these. And that'll help keep everything in focus. And then another thing that I'll start doing is wearing black gloves for all painting videos. And that'll help keep it sharp too. Plus I'm sure there are people that don't really want to see your hands. I've heard it's a thing. Okay. So you can see that I accidentally ran some glue right down the center. See how it's all glossy in there? That does not matter because this glue is awesome, so it'll dry and evaporate. And even if it leaves a slightly rough surface, it's a rough part, so it don't matter. That is super loose. Boop, boop, boop. Ah. Think. Dang, how is that thing supposed to go? There we go. Okay. got a little clicky thing. Alright, so we're going to stop working on this guy now, and we're going to move on to all the wheels and rollers and stuff. So the trick for doing tanks, if you've never done a tank, and sorry I keep on getting in the way, is that anything wheel, shock, roller stays separate all the way until the very, very end. That way you can get all your paint and your weathering and everything like that behind those wheels. So this thing is literally going to stay empty aside from the top part of the turret, or of the hull and the turret. Everything else, all of these are going to stay separate, but we still need to put them together. So, oh yeah, man, we're gonna take this to the absolute top level that I know how to do as far as weathering. All the mud effects, all the pastel effects, the pigment effects, the oil effects, the enamel effects, color modulation, everything. Alright, this is going to be a little annoying to sand. Trying to rub all that dust away so that I can see what I'm working with here. Hold on one sec. My computer is screaming at me for using up space. Dang, where did it go? Sorry, guys. Give me 1 sec. Where the heck is it? Well, that's weird. Alright, I'm just gonna hope that this works. I'll figure out why my C drive ran out of space later. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm recording this while streaming it, so that's why it gave me an error saying that it ran out of space. I'm like, I don't know why. There's no reason for this. Alright, hold up. I'm going to look at these return rollers real quick and just see how much of sanding I actually need to be doing on this and how much I don't. If I remember right, most of these wheels have steel edges. Yeah, there's no way around it. So obviously this part is a little tedious, but every single one of the wheels have to get rid of those part lines, those seam lines. Big thank you to everybody who's watching the stream right now. We're up to 5 streamers. Woo! That's 2 more than last night, and I think I counted for 1 or 2 of them last night. So, that is awesome. Very glad you guys are all here. I hope it is sufficiently entertaining for you, and next week we'll have the whole thing built. So I'm not going to make you guys watch the entire build. Starting next Monday, we will go into painting. I'm just going back over this one that I already sanded just to make sure that it's straight. Ugh. This Tamiya plastic is so squishy. This is a rasp. So you can buy a pack of rasps that look like this for about $10 on Amazon. And they are super handy for filing all kinds of things. They also make a set that's just like this that has quote-unquote diamond on it, but that just means it's a much rougher surface. So I use files more often than anything else for all of my sanding for plastic. I just find you can get just about the same smooth finish, and if I need to do a final finish, then this flexible foam sanding stick has a fine finish to it, and I can just kind of knock the top of it after everything's done, and it's perfectly smooth. I'm pretty sure this is the free version or the non-copyrighted version of Last of the Mohicans. Didn't even notice that when I was picking it out. You could use steel wool, and I do have a bunch of all the zeros of steel wool, but it's hard to hold in your hand, and it's just a little bit too flexible for this type of thing. To sand down plastic, especially brittle plastic, while this is not brittle, you need some sort of straight, very, very straight, firm object. Now, if you were trying to clean out, like, a curved object, for example, let's say something like this, that didn't have all kinds of panel lines and stuff, let's say you wanted to get in here and smooth out some of these organic curves, then potentially you could use steel wool. But even in that circumstance, steel wool is kind of an unforgiving product, so I would still probably use like a sanding foam block that you can get at Home Depot that has that foam in between, so you could fold it up and get in there, just because you can get like 2000 grit, you know, the very, very high grits of steel wool, or of sanding sticks, while steel wool is not going to be, I would think, is uniform. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. Has anybody else on the chat ever used steel wool for sanding plastic? I think that's an interesting question. I'm going to definitely keep it around. I use it for other things. It's very, very good for sanding metal figures. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people use the sponge. Danny was talking to me earlier today about the show Tested, Adam Savage's show Tested on YouTube. Danny's a personal friend of mine, and I actually checked it out a few weeks ago, and one of the big ones that I fell in love with was he did a Russian spaceman by Industria Mechanica, and they do the spaceship that I'm doing on Patreon as an exclusive Patreon tutorial. But the Spaceman is such an awesome kit. It's, I think, 1/8 scale, so it's huge. Like, the thing is massive. And he did a really, really cool tutorial video on how to put that thing together and how to paint it. It's interesting because he doesn't use very advanced techniques for all of his work, but it still turns out, you know, pretty good. I was pretty impressed with it. And very impressed with the actual model kit. I would love to get one of those. So if you haven't seen it... Yeah, you saw that one? Yeah. Jeez, I feel like doing these wheels is just gonna take, like, absolutely forever having to sand every single one of these things. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Alright. Woo! There's 2 rollers. We did such a great job, guys. Now we can all go home. If only that was the case, but it's not. We have so much more fun to do. For the love of model building, we do all the things that are tedious as well. I don't know about you guys, but that's probably the one thing that I really struggle with, is patience sometimes in the builds to get to the painting. Because I love the painting, that's when everything comes to life. And sometimes doing the build videos, I'm just like, oh, get it done so that I can have fun. And little do I realize, like, once I get into it, I really love building them too. Okay, I've gone through this whole thing and I can't find it. There it is. Polycap, large. It's funny, because my brother is the exact opposite. My little brother's a 3D artist and a model builder as well. And, he absolutely loves building the kits and doesn't enjoy painting them as much. And I'm like, that's just so interesting that, you know, different people love completely different parts of our wonderful hobby. But that's what makes this hobby so awesome. So for those of you who are new that don't know what I'm using for glue because it's out of the camera, I'm using the Tamiya extra thin cement. It's a welding glue, so it will melt the plastic and weld it. And I used to use super glue for absolutely everything, but then I realized that this welding cement dries almost as fast as the super glue, if not faster sometimes. And holy moly, like, I love it. It's amazing stuff. Okay, these little suckers. So the really hard part about sanding down the sprue lines and the mold lines on circular stuff is that you gotta keep the thing circular. So luckily this one is just the sprue line, so I'm able to go really, really lightly, and I'm just really feathering that curve. And then because I can see them whenever I glue them on, if I can still see them after paint's on there, they will go towards the bottom. There's a guy that I watch his painting videos for who does wargame miniatures, and he's got a really, really cool system for his streams. He doesn't really use Patreon that much, though I think he's going to be starting to. But for his normal streams, he allows viewers to collect minutes of how much they watch, and then they can turn that in to get swag from his sponsors. So with the wargame stuff, it's going to be paint and diorama making stuff, base making stuff, bases, like just really cool little swag. I think that's something I really would love to be able to do for our live streams, so that you don't have to, if you don't want to, go to Patreon to get free stuff, because I've got giveaways over there. But I want to be able to give back to you guys who come on here live. So I'm going to look into that and see what it takes to be able to give away swag, and if we can set up a system through like the vMix or something to accrue hour or to accrue watch time. Yeah, it's like making a little club, you know? So if you were to watch, like, I don't know, if we're on for an hour or so, 3 days a week, so if you watch 120 minutes, let's say 2 hours out of the 3 hours plus that I'm on, then you would accrue enough to be able to get some sort of little gift bag or something. And before I get sponsors, I'll just pay for those, and then after sponsors, then hopefully I can get all kinds of goodies from them and be able to give them away. So I'm liking this method of sanding better than going across the grain. Everything is staying much smoother, though it probably takes a little bit longer to do. Oh, man, you have no idea. I still have kits that I've, I guess, broken apart from when I was a kid. And like my very first 1/35th scale figures, before I knew that I really liked figures and started doing the bigger metal ones. I collect spare parts and interesting cardboard boxes for some reason. You never know when you're going to ship a model or something small and fragile, I guess. Who is the model manufacturer of the tank? Ah, that is Tamiya, and since Tamiya makes a lot of different tanks, this is the Tamiya EZ8 Sherman, specifically this box type, and it's a really good model. I think this is better than the white box one. Don't quote me on that, but I believe when I did the research for it a few months ago, this was the better Tamiya one that was like 50 or 60 bucks. And to go with it, we are going to be doing the Legend Fury update kit. And maybe, just maybe, I have no idea, but maybe we might be able to swing the Bravo 6 actual Fury characters. They made 1/35th scale characters of Brad Pitt and all the guys, and they're dope. They look really good, but they're 20 to 30 bucks a kit, so it ended up being about 100 bucks to get the 5 figures, which is a lot of money. Now I know that it takes a lot of time and effort to make figures, to sculpt them and all that stuff, so I can't say that it's overly expensive for something so custom. But I was not expecting this to be a $200 build. Especially when I'm trying to... Yeah, no problem, man. I got it off of Amazon. So if you're in the States or possibly even the UK, it was like 50, 51, 55, something like that on Amazon. Now, of course, Amazon is not the absolute cheapest place to buy it, so there's a good chance that you can find a much better deal somewhere else. That is one sad thing, like modeling materials. The total build time for this project? We are 2 hours into it now. I'm expecting that I can probably go maybe not twice as fast, but a little bit faster when I'm off camera to finish actually putting the build together. But the next time that we stream, which will be next Monday, I'll have the actual plastic part done. And we're going to go right into painting, because the painting's more fun, and there's a lot of painting and stuff to do too. And then I'll post the rest of the build video where, like, things like this you don't have to watch, where I'm sanding for 72 hours. But I'm assuming that it might take 3 weeks. So that would be 9 shows to do this. But if you're thinking about, like, personally doing it, how would you compute the hours? Man, it really just depends on how slow or how fast you are. Like, I'm not a slow model maker or a deliberate model maker. I get after it. Especially the building. So I'd like to say that a kit like this was 16 hours. What model that I've done have it taken the longest? There was one I can't say that anything that I have that I've actually finished took a whole heck of a lot longer than anything else. But there's one model that I have not finished that I actually lost some parts for in my move, which is the Zvezda Black Swan ship. So it's based on the Pirates of the Caribbean ship, the Black Pearl. And if I were to finish that, that would be 100 hours or more, I'm assuming. And I've never done like a rigged ship before, so that would be some crazy interesting learning. And I'm sure we will end up doing one of those on this stream at some point. Maybe not live, but edited for sure. I've got pretty good goals. But if you want to talk about like military stuff, ships take a while. Like, I'm going to be starting this week or next week doing an edited video series on the 1350 Arizona, and there's a whole photo etch kit that goes with that I bought, and that's going to take a long time. Photo etch is no joke, and I'm not super well versed in it, as you'll see in this video once we start doing photo etch. Like, I will probably be going very slowly just to make sure that I do everything right. But that takes a long time. Like, I could probably spend an entire month behind the scenes on the Arizona. That could be 20, 30 hours. What about you? Halo? What is your longest build? I know it's getting close to 10 o'clock, but if everybody's good, I'm just going to stay on. We'll go for a while longer. I was really expecting to get to photo etch until I realized there's so much sanding of the wheels. I need to be able to read this. Ah, model cars. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, painting model cars is a totally different ballgame. It's so much more akin to actually painting real cars, because you can go with the same layers and stuff. I do not do model cars, but I'm very familiar with the process for painting automobiles, and I know that that's a super chore. Nope, still doing these. And actually, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, they're not going on the model. Why the heck am I doing these and not moving on to something more fun? So I'm going to stay up past the 10 o'clock close time, which is probably going to be a thing. And we're going to move on to something that's actually more enjoyable. Because this seems like something that I could do while I'm watching television. Sand all the wheels. So let's do that. Let's just pretend, hey, all the wheels are done. Moving on. Oh. This will be more fun. There's a few of them, but I'm going to build them and then... Actually, let's look. Do they require a tremendous amount of sanding? Yes. Okay, we're going to skip all of the wheel stuff. Let's start the upper hull. So there's a piece going in this spot, but number one, if you don't have a habit of cleaning your parts, then you're going to miss one, and it's going to annoy you when you notice it. Second off, I want to make sure that that piece sits flush, so I'm knocking off the corner. So I'm not worried as much about getting super smooth inside here, because something's going to lay right on top, but I want to make sure that that piece is flush. And that is very important. Okay, let's see what's next here. That's interesting. It's looking like they want me to do some drilling, which I don't even know where my drill is, so I'll have to look for that. Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later, man. You know, one thing that's very interesting about the, specifically the Fury Sherman, is that it's not the right color. And it kind of bugs me that it's not the right color. Because I would have preferred to do color modulation based on the actual olive drab color. But the Fury Sherman is a lot darker. So that'll be interesting. And then there's a lot of debate upon the tracks. And I think I am not a staunch, everything has to be exact type person. I will do it if it's there. Easily accessible and I don't have it, so I will not be buying new tracks. Yeah, it is. It's way darker. The good news is I found museum pictures of the actual model. So we will have direct reference. Because they've got that sucker in a museum. L34, 35. So I basically dumped my entire playlist of music that I had downloaded from the website that I use for royalty-free music. So it's all stuff that I like, but there's cinematic, electronic, and like what I would call epic all mixed together. Do y'all dig that? Or would you prefer it to be always a little bit more upbeat? Because over the next week or so I'll be designing some playlists for streaming, and I'm curious what you guys like. I'm much more of the soundtrack oriented, cinematic, epic type stuff, so okay, good. Yeah, there were. That was one thing I wanted to make sure of, was that if I'm going to start a channel and try to turn this into something that I would want to watch and that I enjoy, and turn it into a possible platform for business and stuff like that, and try to give it a go for modeling, I am not going to subject myself to using copyrighted music ever. So I found out that there are a couple of websites that you can pay a small monthly fee to that have some great composers. So this is one of them, and you can just download the music. As long as you continue with the subscription, you can keep on using the music. So I'm completely satisfied with that. Alright, real quick, I need to see if I can find my drill. We're supposed to drill these, like, 1mm holes. Here it is. Ah! As I shake the crap out of the camera. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's unfortunate that unless you pay, there really is not a good selection of free music out there. Alright, so with my drill set, it's numbered, but it doesn't give me millimeter numbers, so I'm just choosing the biggest one that I have. I'm supposed to do a 1mm hole. Right here. Whoop. Go in front of the camera. Right there. Which is odd. So, let's do that. NCM. Is he a model maker, or what does he do? Like, what is his channel for? So with these hand drills, they suck, but you just go back and forth. You don't have to go in a circle. Oh, he does non-copyright music? That's what he tries to sell? That's what his channel's for? Interesting. Alright, there's a little bit of residue left over. Okay. Nice. I'll check them out. I mean, I have to say that since I'm already paying for this company and I love their music, I'm probably not going to buy any more since there's thousands of songs on their website, but I will definitely check him out and listen to his music. Alright, just dry fitting this. Nice! Nice, Braden. So I was just earlier spending a crapload of time sanding these stupid little wheels from all their seam lines. So far that's the most unenjoyable part of the kit that I'm going to do off camera. But everything else seems to be going together pretty well. Okay. Well, that's cool. Alright. So I'm just looking at where all this is lining up. Oh, that sucks. I hate having to go to the store at night. But I guess maybe it's not night where you are. Where are you at, Braden? Is it daytime where you are? Oops, sorry. I just put that together off camera. My bad. It was a secret. In Nebraska. Oh, yeah. Out in the boonies, huh? See, that's gotta be the worst. Is when you're missing something. Like, yesterday was my very first stream. And I had got all my cables and stuff because I'd never hooked up the DSLR to the computer because you need like a special capture card is what it's called. So I eventually got one of those, got the cables and all that kind of stuff, and then I realized that the cable that I got was a mini HDMI and I needed a micro HDMI. Didn't even cross my mind that there are that many different kinds of HDMI. So I had to go out to Fry's, which is an electronics store here in Texas. A big electronics store, like that's where you go if you're going to build a computer. And luckily it's only like 15 minutes away. But I was still like, man, it's like 7:30 and I don't even know what I'm doing yet on my like video software. This is gonna be crazy. Oh, sweet. That'll be awesome. A Fury battle scene. I thought about that for a brief second, and then I realized that over the course of the year, I'm going to be taking up so much space building all of the kits for the show that I need to keep my dioramas somewhat small. So I will be doing a diorama base for this, but it's going to be by itself. Paint's a good question. So I've been hearing some interesting stuff about airbrushing. I use Reaper, Vallejo, Games Workshop, AK Interactive, MIG, and that's about it. Scale 75 is another one that I'm starting to use. So I use like model color paint. A lot of people use Tamiya paint and Mr. Paint, like the company Mr. the Asian company that makes really good stuff. So there's a lot of options out there, and if you're just getting into airbrushing, the consensus is don't do it with Vallejo slash etc model color paints. I find that they're just fine to me, but I'm also used to using them, and it's all about mixing the paint right. But they are a little bit different as far as pigment. They're very, very pigment heavy paints, so my more professional experience is figure painting, like 75mm, 90mm figures, like metal figures. I love doing medieval and historical stuff, so I started using those types of paints for that purpose, because that's where you do all the blending and stuff like that. Oh yeah, you definitely have to delete the paint. So a cool trick for using model color paint is this stuff. If you've never used Vallejo Flow Improver for airbrush work, this fixes 90% of your clogs. So I always fill the bottom of my airbrush with this, and then put my paint in, and then mix it with a paintbrush in the airbrush, and then I'll add other color to it if I'm mixing a different color. And then if you wanted to go and use really thin translucent layers, then add a little bit of water with this. This stuff saves your life. And I'll be going over all that on live for airbrushing, for sure. But if you don't have it, I would definitely Amazon some Flow Improver. Alright, sorry, I just gotta hold this thing here for a second. I didn't quite bite the first time. So I'm looking at it dead on, and I'm making sure that it's at a 90-degree angle. And you guys are almost dead on with this, because my head is almost in the scene again. Gotta figure out how to get my head out of the scene. Oh yeah, dude, no worries. It's it changed my life, because I love working with the airbrush, and I wanted to do it for the figure painting too. And it was so hard with the clogging. But as soon as I use the Flow Improver, like literally more than half of the clogs gone away. Yeah, I use super glue. I've always used super glue until I started using this stuff. This is a welding glue, and to me it acts just like, if not better than, super glue. It's a little bit finicky. But it also is going to make a better bond. But yeah, super glue is awesome. The only thing about super glue is that it's okay, Vallejo Air, honestly, it's a waste of to me it's a waste of money, only because they have slightly thinned it, so you're getting less pigment. So if you're going to I think if you're going to buy model colors, then just buy the regular, because then you're going to get the most pigment out of it, and then thin it down yourself. Because even the Vallejo Air paint isn't thinned totally properly. Oh yeah, that happens a lot, Brayden. Can you get that on Amazon or Hobby Lobby? Which one? The paint or the glue? You know, I almost think that you can get this glue at Hobby Lobby. Definitely on Amazon. I think that's where I got mine. But yeah, I'm trying to think. They actually have, like, they've got Tamiya primer at Hobby Lobby, so it really would not surprise me for them to have the Tamiya glue. And this is the extra thin, but they've got another one. And if you get the regular, it'll be just fine too. I like the extra thin, especially because it comes with such a tiny little brush, so that you don't have overspillage, which is super awesome. Alright, what's next here? Oh, cool. Okay. This will be the last thing that we do tonight. We're going to do some hatches, and that requires us to pull out the photo etch. So you guys get to see me do photo etch for the first time in a long time on camera. That's going to be fun. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. So you're a real tank guy, aren't you, Braden? That's awesome. Yes, indeed. Okay. So we've got that for that. Let's get the hatch. Yeah, exactly what Kappa said. It's a photo etch bender. Sorry, I was holding it in front of my face and sanding. Dude, if you had if you had $1 million, I bet you could find a way to spend it all on hobby tools. I have a list that is a mile long of things that I'd like to have, of tools and materials. Okay. Let me see if I can keep my head from getting in the way. Nice. That's quite a collection already. Very cool. I'd love to see the Wooden Hawker Hurricane. That's definitely on my list for this year, is to do a Spitfire and a Hurricane. I watched a really cool documentary on the Battle of Britain. Actually, a couple of documentaries on the Battle of Britain. And, yeah. Some pretty amazing fighter pilots back then. I need a knife. Oh, I know, man. And they were, I think they were they were used the most. Like, the Hurricanes were the winners of that war, in my opinion. Alright. Since I wasn't thinking about it, I don't know where all my number 11 Oh, there they are. Alright, I was going to use a different blade, but I found my number 11s. Alright. You know what? This thing is such a pain to get in here, but let's see if I can get it in. I feel like what I'm doing is super dangerous. Okay. Blade is in. Did you know, interesting fact, that I never even thought about, because of video games and movies and stuff? The British Spitfire had between, I think it was 12 and 16 seconds of cannon fire. And that was it. It was done. Go home. And I never realized that planes had that little ammunition to be able to fight with. My head's gonna get in the way, sorry guys. Absolutely amazes me. So I'm using a very, very brand new sharp blade. Cut the photo etch out. And there we go. Yeah, for real. Like I can't believe that I'm a huge like history fan and always have been. And it wasn't until this year that I think I was watching something and they said that yeah, these airplanes, that was one of the reasons why the Messerschmitt Bf-109 was better. Wasn't just because it could climb faster, it was because it had like an extra 6 or 8 seconds of cannon fire. Just crazy. Okay, let's bend this thing. Man, sorry guys, my head's getting like right in the way. Whoa, that's crazy. Alright, there we go. One crazy bend. Yeah. Yeah, that is also pretty crazy. Alright, so you can see, like, this is not rocket science, but it's very tedious. Like, you just have to know that you're bending things, and just take your time. And honestly, aside from having to keep my face away from it, for the camera's sake, it's not as hard as I thought it was. And that makes me a little bit more happy about the hundreds of pieces I have for the USS Arizona. Yeah, dude. Welcome to the wonderful world of scale model making, where we all love exactly the same things that you love. It's a great club. In fact, I will definitely plug myself and Kappa to say subscribe to us so that you know when we're online. And you are more than welcome to talk to us anytime. Nice. Yeah, I don't know if how long you've been on here, but my schedule that I'm hopefully making permanent, as close to permanent as I possibly can, is that I'll be live streaming Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 9, from 9 to 10. Looks like we're doing it from 9 to 10:30ish today, and it'll probably shift back and forth like that. I am bending these in. That is pretty close to perfect. So the last thing I'm going to do is I need to level out. I don't even know if that's going to be able to focus. Hey! It's a good movie. It's a very realistic movie. Turn over. Sorry. Try this again. I'm tweaking the feet right now if you can't see. Trying to get them to lay flat. Nice. I'll say the Dunkirk was phenomenal, and Band of Brothers is probably my favorite series of all time. Okay, so for this one, we've got to go to super glue, because the welding glue won't hold onto the metal. So, for something this small, super glue can be pretty nasty. So we're going to use a pin. And we'll just drop our glue on a little piece of cardboard. Don't tell me it's all dried up. I hate having to punch holes in this stuff. There we go. Ew, gross. That would suck. I know you can close wounds with super glue, but still. I can't stand it when I get it on my hands. These are not the cleanest bottles of super glue. Okay, let's... You know what? Actually... So note to self, if you're going to do photo etch, it's actually better to put the glue on the photo etch than it is to put the glue where you think the part is going to be. This is Instaset. Boom. Ouch. That sucks, Brayden. Okay. Where are we? There we go. Let me zoom us out. So I'm going to wrap it up now that you guys have seen what a little bit of photo etch looks like. Off camera, I'm going to go ahead and do as much work on this build as possible. I hope to have it done by next Monday so that we can start painting. But no matter what, we'll be live on Monday and working on this build. So if you haven't already subscribed to YouTube to get notifications whenever we go live, please do that. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. And if you are interested in picking up any rewards or getting other exclusive videos and content, check me out on Patreon at Modeler Mentor on Patreon. And that is a work in progress, but there is an exclusive tutorial already up over there. And we're going to be doing our first giveaway in February on Patreon. Yes, I do post vids on my channel. So I've already got most of Star Wars Bandai Slave 1, which is a sci-fi kit, complete. I have one video left on there. And the plan is to have a live stream going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then as I can work up to it, I'll have edited videos that get released Thursdays and Fridays. And I may end up doing... Actually, I know I will end up doing it. It's just a matter of when. I'm going to start doing little 10-minute actual tutorials on, like, hey, this is how you use an airbrush and clean an airbrush and what good airbrushes are and what bad airbrushes are. This is how you work with water. This is how you do photo etch. This is how you paint modular. Like going over like little tips and tricks where it's a little bit more focused. Because you're going to get a lot of good focus time here, but on the edited video projects, it's more for fun. You're going to get to see like really cool cinematic build videos and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that we have focused time to learn. So there'll be some sort of vlog type thing, the focus tutorials, edited videos, and then live is basically how it's going to go. And as I learn, I'm probably going to split some stuff up and move some stuff to Patreon and keep, obviously, the live stuff and edited stuff here. But I will probably end up doing very long scale like this, but for the edited videos on Patreon too. So if you want to subscribe to support me, then you'll get a tremendous amount of content over there, as well as giveaways and stuff. So that's my spiel for all the channel stuff. Ooh, that'd be cool. But I'll talk to you guys later, so you won't hear anything from me until next Monday, except for the last video in the series for the Slave 1, which will be out this weekend. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for joining the stream. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks.